σας κρατώ κακιά, αμάν, αμάν, του βαπόριου αμάκι.
Well, here we are, everybody, in beautiful Skopelos town on Skopelos Island in Greece. Jefferson Glassie, Chief Spiritual Dude of the Planetary Gigs Society, and have the great pleasure to be here in general because it's so beautiful, but also it's such a treat to be able to talk with Kostas Kalafatis, who is a musician that, you know, things just work out sometime. Our good friend Stefan said, you should go to Skopelos and talk with Kostas about the power of music and the type of music that he plays and that you played, and it's quite an interesting story, I think, isn't it? Thank you so much for taking the time to be here.
You're welcome, Jeff, and from the first time that I saw you with your lovely hat.
Topi.
Yes,
Topi. Nepalese.
Then I thought, I thought immediately that he's an interesting guy.
Well, I'm interested in a lot of things.
Yes.
I tell you, I'm really interested in. I mean, we've talked a little bit about this style of music.
Yes.
And I've seen it
Rebetico.
Rebetca, and also I've seen it without the M. But the book that you gave me, it says rembetico.
Yes, I write it in two ways.
Yeah.
With the M and with only B.
Yeah.
It depends, I think that more simple now it's rebetico with B. But when we speak in Greek, we say rebetico.
Okay.
Rebetico.
Okay.
So you hear also M and B together.
And this book is so fascinating. It's quite a story, and it's quite a genre of music with, multinational implications.
Yes.
And so we'll talk a little bit about that for sure. But
yes.
Tell us a little bit about, you've been playing music a long time, and you play a number of different instruments, I know.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about that. You've been playing a long time, and how you ended up here in Skopelos playing this kind of music.
Well, I've been involved since very young from the church music.
Church.
My father used to be a professional singer in the church. So he was, in the Greek Orthodox Church, there are two main singers, one right and one left, and also the priest. So when I was young, very young, something like 6 years old, my father and mother were taking me in the church, and I was looking at my father, that he studied music in Mount Athos, the famous place of the Greek Orthodox Church that was built somewhere in 1000.
Wow.
So it's 1000 years ago. And it's a place dedicated to Madonna, the Mother of Christ, and it's full of monks and full of monasteries. It's a holy place where only men are allowed to go. It's a beautiful place. Anyway, my father was there. He left because he didn't like the monk life.
Uh-huh.
And he taught me, the first tunes to sing in the church. So later on, somewhere in the 13, 14, I bought a guitar and I started playing the guitar.
Uh-huh.
So in a way, I tried to get my own road that time.
Ah.
So I also was studying English. I liked the Beatles. I liked and at the same time, it was the Woodstock time.
Woodstock.
So,
yeah.
So if you are talking about the power of the music,
But that's a good
I was
example.
very much impressed of Woodstock
Yes.
and of the movement, in the States in '68 against the war in Vietnam.
Yes.
So I loved this, and I was playing those songs, Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, and those things. Of course, I was hearing the Greek music, But that time it was a dictatorship in Greece. And the Greek music was, in a way, the generals that they had, they tried, to press the people to listen only to this music that was coming from the country of Greece. It was the clarinet, the main instrument, and this is country music. It has nothing to do with the rebetico. It's another thing.
This is
They are influenced, of course, in between them, but they have. It's not an urban music. It's a country music.
The generals were telling people what to play.
Yes.
That doesn't sound like a good plan in the long term to me.
What to listen,
What to listen to.
All the day in the radio, we had marches, military marches, and also country music from Greece.
Okay.
So we are, in a way, we didn't like the country music. And I went to the university, and then at that time, I came in touch with the our urban music, and also the old urban music, which is rebetico. Rebetico, it's old now, about 120 years since it was born. I can say that the rebetico was the song that has the same power like rock, like blues, like strong kinds of music. It has the same power. If you hear a recording from gramophone from the 30s, you will understand what I mean. Και γιατί θεμάς το λες, βρε και γιατί θεμάς το λες, βρε και γιατί θεμάς το λες, τον πόνο που κι όλο κλαις. Αναθεμάτη τη στιγμή, κορίτσι μου, αναθεμά την ώρα. Όπου σε πρώτο γνώρισα, κορίτσι μου, σ' αυτήν εδώ τη χώρα. Βρε και γιατί θεμ' άνοιξες, βρε και γιατί θεμ' άνοιξες, βρε και γιατί δε μ' άνοιξες, παρά το τζάμι σφαλίσες. Και γιατί δε μας το λες, βρε και γιατί δε μας το λες, βρε και γιατί δε μας το λες, παρακάθεσαι και κολλές. The last big names of rebetico that they composed rebetico in the old time, they were still young, still alive, but they were old already, they would die in some years, and they died, after some years, but I met them. So I was very much impressed of their life. As I told you, rebetico comes from the word rebet. Rebet, it's a man that he's wandering around without reason. He's getting taught by the nature and the people that they are gathered, all around, he's like a philosopher, like Socrates, like
Socrates,
it's the same thing. No, this wandering without reason, it's the best in life, because then you can focus in what happens all around you, but with another eye, not the common eye that we see, now people all around us, but we don't think, what meaning they give to us. When you're wandering without reason and you have plenty of time in front of you, then you can do that.
And you're open to things.
Yes, and you are open, of course.
And that's
you have to be open.
It is important for music, I think,
Yes,
to be open.
It is very important.
Or you just play.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so,
Exactly.
I mean, the history of it. This book, as I mentioned, that you gave me. It's fascinating how it came about between the Turkish and the Greeks, and sort of the exchange between them, which goes back
Yes.
centuries, millennia.
Yes.
The Turks taking over Greece for 400 years, and then the Greeks going back, and Alexander the Great. I mean, it's been going on a long time.
It is a big story, yes.
So, a little more precisely, though, the rebetico, you said, is 120 years or so. So
Yes.
it's 1900s, 1920s.
Yes,
They were-
1920s, about. It started, though, a little bit before 19th century.
Okay.
At the end of 19th century and beginning of 20th. The main instruments in the beginning were instruments that they were coming from Izmir and Istanbul. The orchestras, they were that time using mostly as a basic instrument the piano of the East, called kanun. Kanun, it's you can meet it from Iran until all the Arabian countries, and also Turkey, and here. All East Mediterranean, they use this instrument. It's a triangle instrument, a triangle like a speaker, empty.
It has strings on it?
There are strings on it.
A lot of strings.
Yes, a lot of strings, like the piano,
Okay, right.
like that.
Like a dulcimer?
But there is no dulcimer. You don't hit them with the hammers like the dulcimer, but you play with a plectrum. Plectrums that they are on your fingers, metallic plectrums.
Oh, like
And
finger
you play
picks.
like, yes,
Okay.
like finger pick, yes. Yes, and you play like that.
Yeah.
It's fantastic instrument. It sounds great. The other instrument that they used a lot, it was the oud.
Oud.
O-U-D.
I know.
Oud is a fretless father of guitar.
It's fascinating because we saw an oud player in Athens,
Yes.
Vasia Vulekli.
Yes,
Vuli-
Vasia Vuyukli.
Yes.
Yes, Vasia Vuyukli.
And she was so amazing. She told us a lot about it. So that was
Yes.
one of the main instruments,
Yes,
but that was fretless.
yes,
And then came along.
yes. It's like the violin, the same,
Yeah. Okay.
the same thing, and it's the same length of neck, more or less.
Mhm.
Sometimes they were using mandolins or guitar, always guitar, and lute also. Lute, it's a longer neck than the oud,
Okay.
and it has frets, but the frets are the old different frets, like the Byzantine spaces. Yes, it's completely different, the
Huh.
tuning.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, those instruments were in the beginning, but then it came a new old instrument in the scene, appeared around 1920, in the Piraeus port.
Right.
It was an instrument that had a body like a mandolin, but a long neck, called bouzouki.
Suzuki, right.
Bouzouki had 3 double strings tuned DAD, and still Today, the old bouzouki that the players, they love to play, the bouzouki players, it's the 3-string one. There is also the 4-string one, which was invented in the 50s by Manolis Chiotis, a big virtuoso player of bouzouki in Greece, with some other virtuoso players. It was a 4-string one, 4 double string, and it was tuned one tune lower than the guitar. So it's DA from lower string to upper, DA, DA, F, FD. F, oh no, not F, C,
Oh.
FC.
Okay.
DA, FC.
Interesting.
Yes.
So they had these instruments, and Piraeus, is that how you say it? It's just south of Athens, right?
It's the same now. It's the same city,
Oh.
because but it is the port of Athens. Let's say
Okay.
Piraeus. There are two cities in one. They are joined now together. You know, before they were separately, but now
Okay. Yeah. All right.
they build it like crazy. You know.
And a lot of the well, I guess there was always strife, and forced people to leave Turkey to come to Greece, and
Yes.
a lot of those people were coming, and maybe not with all their families, and it was
Yes, everything started when there was a war, let's say, not exactly war, but there was it was born a hate between the Turks and the Greeks, or the Turks with the Jewish and the Armenians. Before, they were all living in peace under the sultans. You know, the sultans, they had sultans. They offered freedom to the also other religions. So they were also Christians, Jewish, Armenian church people, and also the Westerns. You know, they were Catholics living there. Which ones? They were living in peace all together. So that's why Izmir became the Paris of the East, because they were joined so many people.
wow.
All and they made a fantastic mosaic of different nationalities
Yeah.
and different traditionalities, and you know, this brought the blooming of music in these cities. The music came to incredible, you know, heights of progression.
Because a lot of
And
such diverse
Fantastic,
origins
yes, and fantastic
people playing
musicians
together. Wow.
that they joined the two systems, the Eastern and the Western. I mean, the European do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do, and the Eastern Byzantine Pavou, Gadi, και Ζωνή.
Wow.
So those people, they knew the two systems very well, and they could play fantastic things. So those musicians, after the hate of that came in between the Turks and the other nationalities, without real reason, but it was in a way implanted by Kemal Atatürk, their leader, which one he and a movement in Turkey called the New Turkish Movement, and they thought of making a clear nation where they will not have any place the Greeks, the Armenians, and the Jews. So they were all kicked out of Izmir, and Izmir was all totally burned. One day of August 1922, and all the people came back in Greece. Most of them, they came in Greece. They went to other places also, but the
So
Greeks.
they kicked out the people who were
Yes,
not Turks.
yes.
It was sort of a Turkish
Yes,
nationalist
Yes,
movement.
exactly.
And
It
a
was
lot of them
Turkish nationalism.
and a lot of them came to Greece,
Yeah.
and they were sad.
They had no chance, you know. They were living in concentration camps in Piraeus in terrible conditions.
Wow.
You cannot imagine what happened. 1 million people came in a few months. They came in Greece. 1 million people in a
Refugees.
Greece that had that time not more than 3 million. The
Wow.
whole Greece was only, and 1 million came from there.
It's a
So
big influx.
Greece was very poor. You know, they could not, as a nation, could not support those people. So the people, those people, they more were supported by the simple people, the locals, and not by the nation. You know, in the beginning, the nation they put them in concentration camps in Piraeus, and they tried to put them in the new made factories of the industrial revolution
Right.
and the beginning of the urban centers that time.
Right.
So they found a good working staff,
Yeah.
you know, to fill their small the new factories that they were built at that time. So
And the musicians then were kind of
the musicians,
stuck a little bit. Right?
they were, yes, they were stuck.
And they were smoking a
in
little
the
bit.
beginning. Yes, they smoked. Some of them they smoked, but believe me, it was not so much the musicians, but the suburb of Piraeus, which one it was a big suburb, poor people, no chance, and because it was also a port, it had bordels, horse. You know, there was a big bordel made that time in a place outside of Piraeus, not outside, but very now. If you go to Piraeus, you will see it in the center. The area was called Vourla. There was a bridge to pass to this area. If you would pass this bridge, then you were becoming a brave man and a mangas. Mangas is a guy that he follows the basic principles of life, but he also has no borders, no in acting and in thinking. Mangas is
Open
the
again.
opposite. You know, he has many opposite things. They are together in Mangas. You know, for example, he respects women, but at the same time, he doesn't behave very well to the women. He's, you know, but I will tell you something. This word had different meanings in the years that they passed. So mangas today, for us, the rebetico word, and also the simple people, mangas is something good. It's a brave man. It's a man that he knows life very well. He has, as we say, he has walked as a pedestrian, you know, in the roads, in the streets of a city, and he knows how to act in any case. In the old time, in the 30s, Mangas was the one that he knew how to use the knife, but this is not anymore. Mangas.
Right.
This is not. It's Jabba Mangas, as we say. It's Mangas without existing.
So the
existence.
musicians were sort of the mangas. Is
Yes.
that right?
So
They
the musicians, the musicians, they didn't accept those things, but the first people that they were gathered all around the musicians, there was those people, because they were not accepted by the local people as musicians that they play a good music, you know, for all the people. So in the beginning they had difficulties, and on the other hand also the authorities, they 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 didn't.
They tried to keep them down.
Yeah, they didn't allow them to play their songs.
They didn't allow them to.
Yes.
Well, there's a lot of that going on in what
Yeah,
you
they
this
were
story.
harassed. They were harassed by the authorities. They were taking the bouzouki, breaking the bouzouki, and putting them in jail.
So this is where we have the similarities with the blues.
Yes, this is where we have the similarity with the blues. Yes,
Being
exactly.
the sort of the oppressed.
Exactly.
And they played it in their music.
Yes.
Um,
But believe me, everything like that happened until the first recording companies came from the States and from France, from Europe, to record this phenomenon called rebetico. So when they came, everything changed because the musicians, they took another position because they had to record, and everybody looked at them with a different eye. So they gave another image to the musicians, the recording companies.
I mean, they sang songs where the lyrics were similar to the blues in a way.
Yes.
But the music was not similar to the blues. The music
No.
was very.
Yes, the songs, the lyrics, they speak, all the lyrics, they speak about the same like the blues, like you said. Love, it's one of the, so we have many serenades and many songs speaking about love, about desperate love, about
My baby done left me.
yes, yes, in a way, or my baby goes without knowing it.
Yeah.
You know.
And the man is after me.
Yes, and the man is after you. Yes, as you said, the other thing was the hashish. Another familiar item of the lyrics was hashish in the beginning, because of those people that they were coming all around the rebetico. They, in a way, they put their own life into rebetico with that, because rebetico is a kind of description what was happening every day that time. If you want to know the history of the people that they were living that time, you can listen to rebetico, and then you will know what happened.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the American blues is
The same, like the blues.
yeah, but the music is they call it the 12-bar blues, which is the same.
Yes.
For many of the songs, the same
Yes.
pattern over, the
Yes.
1, the 1, the 4, the 1, the 4, the 5, the 1, but the modes, the music, and the notes much more complex, I think. And,
Yes.
And from the Eastern perspective, yes, sort of exotic and.
Yes, I'll tell you something. Blues starts from the Afro-Americans. Okay, then it was based on also very old scales, pentatonic from Africa,
Pentatonic,
and
yeah.
all kinds of African scales that they were moved with the Negroes to the States as they were coming as slaves.
Yeah.
There, in the beginning it was this, but then it was influenced by the local music also in the States, the Western music, so it came out the real blues, In our case, we have the modes that they are based on the ancient Greek modes, but also the modes that they are coming from the Arabians, from let's say Iraq and Iran,
yeah.
and Turkish. Let's say Turkish are very new to this area. They came only 1,000 before Christ. 1,000 after Christ.
Okay, so the Persians were really more based
1,000
in.
after Christ.
So the Persians who were fighting Alexander the Great and all that, they would be the Iranians from Iran
Yes.
area.
The Persians, yes, they are from Iran. So if you listen to this kind of music, you will see the modes that are transferred from ancient Greece to them, and then they came back. So they are in a way the modes that rebetico is based on. It's a mixture of the ancient Greek modes, the religious Byzantine music, and the Arabian modes.
Wow.
So we have about, let's say, there are many modes, but basically I think that we use mostly rebetico something like let's say more, 8 to 10 different modes.
Wow.
Also, we use in our music, in rebetico, we use some semitones, some tones in between the space that is not existing in the European music.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
we have a space of, let's say, in between C and C sharpent, we have a space. This space in Byzantine music is divided in 9 small spaces.
Wow.
So it comes out, if you imagine that how many spaces we have in between the basic tunes, then we have multiply by 9, we have, you see how many tunes they come up.
A lot of notes.
So yes, that's why we always, with our voice, still now, many we sing somewhere in between, and there is no, let's say, tuning system that can tune.
So there's no wrong
If
notes
you sing
then.
an old song, you cannot tune. It's because the tuning systems that they are based on the European system, not in the.
It's so fascinating. It's almost
Yes.
like Indian music.
Like
different types.
exactly like
Yeah.
Indian music. Yes, we have a mode, which is the same name I think in India, called Rast. The same name, Rast. If you say to
You mean
your friend
Raga? You mean Devi?
No, Devi. Yes, ask her about Rast mode, not Raga. Raga, it's a kind of music.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, mode.
Okay.
Rast mode.
We'll check it out with her.
Yes.
We'll ask her.
Yeah.
चल तू गोरी प्यार करब पीपल की छाँव में, चल तू गोरी प्यार करब पीपल की छाँव में, शहर से दूर किसी गाँव में, नदिया के पार किसी गाँव में, लरा 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 ला, वो तो से प्यार करीला, वो तो है जान देला, वो तो से प्यार करीला, वो तो है जान देला, चल तू गोरी प्यार करब पीपल की छाँव में, चल तू गोरी प्यार करब पीपल की छाँव में, शहर से दूर किसी गाँव में, नदिया के पार किसी गाँव में, माइयों से तोर पापा से तोर तोहके त मांग ले बोरे, आपन बनाइल बोरे, आपन बनाइल बोरे, लरा 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 ला, वो तो से प्यार करीला, वो तो है जान देला, वो तो से प्यार करीला, वो तो है जान देला। चोरी चोरी छुपे छुपे दुनिया जन प्यार करब रे, दुनिया से नहीं डरब रे, दुनिया से नहीं डरब रे, चोरी चोरी छुपे छुपे दुनिया जन प्यार करब रे, दुनिया से नहीं डरब रे, दुनिया से नहीं डरब रे, लरा 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 ला, वो तो से प्यार करीला,
But so there was a real strong community, and there was some smoking, as we said, going on, but it was a
Yes.
strong community that helped these people stay together and really
Yes,
became a big.
it was because the power of this music that was coming out of this music kept them very close one to the other.
Yeah.
And also, this music helped them to overcome the people, to overcome their difficulties.
Yeah.
So we have another word in Greece called, we call it kefi. Kefi is something that is not, you cannot explain. Kefi is when you say opa, you dance, you are up, like Zorbas, let's dance.
Let's dance.
No, but this let's dance, you can say it even if you have something sad in front of you. Something happens, something sad, and you feel sad. You say opa. You go against
Opa.
against
Okay,
your
opa.
luck. You fight.
Okay. Yes.
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 So that's the meaning of the power of rebetico. It gives this soul, this spirit to the people to stand all the difficulties that they are coming in their lives, and also to pass them with a philosophical eye. You look at them and you are not in panic. You don't have to be in panic, what happens in life, because life is such a small thing, it's it's one
Right. So
one how do you spark, one spark.
could you even say that rembetico helps give the Greek people their attitude about life?
Of course.
Which is a strong attitude
Of course,
hey, life
it
is
is,
good. This
because
is good.
Later
This
on,
is good. We
because
don't, right?
later on, the rebetico became more socialized, and it came to all the classes of the society, and it took all the society with it. So that's why it changes also lyrics. It's talking about how these leaders, they depress us. It becomes more revolutionary. Or a mother that loses her son in the war and she cries, so it has in the lyrics different, more social lyrics.
Yeah. I mean, I've got a little bit of history in the blues community, and they say the blues will make you feel good. The sun's going to shine in my back door someday.
Bravo! Exactly.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, similar.
Right.
It's
Very,
interesting.
very similar. Exactly
Yeah.
the same.
And that is very powerful.
Yes.
It can get you through. The
Yes.
music will get you through.
Rebetico took place until the 60s. The last, let's say, the last rebetica were composed in the end of the beginning of 60s. Then they stopped, and then it came out a music that was based on rebetica, but it was based on great poets, the lyrics, or great persons that were writing lyrics. So the two big composers, like Manos Hadjidakis and Mikis Theodorakis,
Yes.
the two big columns of the Greek music, of the modern Greek music, of the contemporary Greek music, they were based on rebetico, and they supported rebetico like crazy, in the beginning.
Wow.
And but rebetico at that time, let's say, it stopped to be to getting right again. No composing of rebetico after the 60s. But some people, they try sometimes, and they write similar songs to the old ones, and music also similar. Some are successful, some not. But as a movement, rebetico stopped there, somewhere there. But when we had dictatorship, and I was young, in the Patras, we started a renovation of the rebetica again, because they were not allowed by the dictatorship to play before. So we in a way, we brought them and we refurbished rebetico, and we started playing again. Now there is a new generation which one makes the same, and this follows,
They're reimagining.
generation to generation.
Open to the new
yes,
thing.
and they play. There are fantastic musicians because as the years go by, technology, it's great. In our time, to find a gramophone record to listen to a rebetico, you had to travel 300 kilometers to go to a small market somewhere, nowhere, and to find a small record, which one you had to pay a lot of money to take this selector's item with you and go to put it in a pickup and listen to that and try to see what he's playing. Now you can find all rebetica in internet, in YouTube.
Wow.
All
Yeah,
the
it's
old
amazing.
ones, it's yes.
All the knowledge of the universe is
So
in YouTube.
the new generation has fantastic tools, to work with, and that's why they are very good players. The thing is that from generation to generation, we took from the old ones the spirit, and we pass it to the younger ones. And the main thing is the spirit and the power of this music, which they have to take it, not only play, because when you play academically, like we say here, it's only you play, but to show to the people, what's the meaning of this music, and why this music makes you stand all the difficulties of life and improve your life, and it's a good weapon against anything bad that happens to your life.
Wow, that is pretty powerful stuff.
Yes.
And I'm not sure everybody people understand that music you can feel better if you get in the car and you turn on the radio and there's a song, but I'm not sure they quite understand how strong music is, even in the society, and how if you're open to that spirit,
Yes.
can make a big difference. That's why we're here talking about this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The only thing is that, as you see also in the States and everywhere, if you listen to the new tunes that are coming out every year, you see that things, they are becoming more simple, and they're canceling some old ways of thinking in music, and they try to make simple things and make the power bigger of the music. For example, let's say rap music
Yeah.
makes things more simple, but the power, they try to focus on the power of the music. The same with it's rap and hip hop,
Yeah.
the same thing. So I think, but again, they will come some years that the musicians, they will try to focus again to the music and to the power of the power of the detail in the music. Sometimes, I think, because it's very simple now, the music. I find it very simple and very easy to what our fathers and mothers were singing.
Yeah.
It was very complicated, and
Yes.
The system that our music was belonging in the old time,
All the harmony
was-
singing and the
Yes, it's
Yeah.
like we say, it's the horizontal development of music, because the scales and the modes, they are very complicated, but with basic harmony in the old time. I mean, the tonic, if it goes a D major, let's say, scale, the D, it's the main tune. So in the old modes, they were keeping only this tune under the melody. So they had one the all the time, and then the voice was making. You understand? And this was a basic harmony. Later on, when we went to more west, we accepted the harmony that was coming from the European. So we started the major and the minor harmonies. So we had 3 tunes together at the same time playing. So you see, the harmonies it changed from simple to more complicated, and now it's going back to the simple again in another way. So from time to time, I think music from generation to generation changes, and you don't know where. There are no borders in this thing. I think it has to do a lot on the technology, basically, because the technology influences with the technical, with tools and things, all the way that you are singing and the way that you are playing. So, for example, the guitarists before Jimi Hendrix, they were playing in a different way. Yeah. After Jimi Hendrix, they are playing in a different way.
Right.
So you see all those things. The same thing we have in Greece. Before, let's say, Manolis Chiotis, our big virtuoso player, the bouzouki players, they were playing differently. Now the bouzouki players are playing differently.
Yeah.
Anyway, in my life, I can tell you that I passed many difficulties, and I said in those difficulties, the solution was coming out of an instrument, always.
And always takes you back to here.
Yes, that's why I studied also some oud by myself, in the old time, and then of course bouzouki and the baglama was playing before, but later on I started playing also the keys. And this, gives you another satisfaction, and another way of expressing yourself.